Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the HomeStory Cup 26 replay cast of Group B. We just wrapped up with the majority of the group, but we have two matches left. Two series remaining here. Up next, we have a Terran versus Terran, a TvT matchup between Spirit and Kelazhur. Let's go. Diego and Piotr are going to be facing off here before us. Again, we did cover most of Kelazhur's matches live at the time, and I believe the main stream was mainly focused on Spirit at the time as well, but we still have this TvT ahead of us here. I'm ready. I'm excited. Diego Kelazhur, he has been a lot less active. He hasn't really been competing too much. He hasn't been playing in too many tournaments, is what I will say. So it's always really hard to gauge his skill. He's a very good player, don't get me wrong, especially when he's in form, but that's the question. How in form is Kelazhur, and how does he compare to a player of the caliber of Spirit? We're here to find out. We are here to find out. Let's go. Typically, Kelazhur, he's a little more aggressive in these matchups. He's a little more aggressive, a little more assertive. I'm always going to remember, his matches against Maru, just cheesing and all-in the hell out of him in WTL, in World Team League, for example. Kelazhur can be a very dynamic player, but we'll see. We'll see what he brings to the table here, as game one is going to be on ley lines. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the blue Terran. It is Kelazhur. Diego. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Polish Terran player, the red Terran. Representing himself, currently teamless, it is Spirit. Let us go. Also, as we get into this, a big shout out to Blaker Dudes in the chat. God, baby God, thank you so much. I do apologize for missing it at the time, but thank you so much for the $20 donation to the $20 tip. Thank you so much for the support. Happy New Year, papi. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Currently we don't actually have notifications on our overlays at the moment for this cast, just because at the time, of course, we were focusing or this was the scene collection that we were using to cast HomeStory Cup live, so that's why there was no alerts, there was no notification. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for the donation. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, papi. Gracias. As always. Always appreciate the support. As we are settling into our TvT, so far we do have our double gas opener, double gas out of Kelazhur. Meanwhile, economic opener out of Spirit, which is what we expect. Spirit, he's usually the more greedy, more economic player, and again, Kelazhur is usually taking the role of the aggressor. Spirit is going to be going for the CC on the low ground, and Kelazhur is going to be opening up with a faster factory. And we'll see what this leads into. This can lead into additional Reaper Hellion aggression early on. We can see Kelazhur going to an early tank production, into an early tank drop. Kelazhur has options. We'll see. But now there's that command center for Spirit. He pokes in. Spirit, he confirms the opener. He is aware that Spirit is going to take the role of the defender. So players do settle in. Cell versus Jimmy was the other group. Yes, as we did mention, Group D, as we did explain, Group D at the time, there were a lot of short matches during that group, so we were able to cast twice as much as usual. So we actually covered most of the matches in Group D live at the time, and only 2 matches went uncasted. Cell versus Jimmy being one of them. So that is why that is also in today's broadcast. Just because there aren't enough matches to have just our own dedicated Group D cast. Not enough matches. Now Spirit, he does dance with Kelazhur. Poking in. Likewise, Kelazhur's goal here is to try to get on top of that CC or try to gain some value. Alas, he does not. Does not quite break through. Bunker's now on the way for Spirit. Oh, but the bunker is a little bit delayed. Kelazhur reinforcing with a second Reaper. He gets a Marine. Takes out one Marine. Can he get the Reaper? Ooh, not quite. It's going to be stoned away. Second Marine has arrived. Again, Kelazhur trying to abuse how late this bunker is, but alas, I don't think he'll be able to. It's going to be close to a third. Sorry, a Hellion now arrives as well. Going for the Marines. Oh. Yeah, Hellion volley going to be going off. Marine goes down. Bunker is still not done. Second Marine going to be falling. Reaper as well. But Spirit, he will defend. He defends just in time. Reinforces with that Hellion. Spirit, he holds. Does cost him how much? It was 3 Marines and a Reaper, but he does maintain his economy. SCVs are safe and sound. Mules are safe and sound as well. Spirit, he holds. Whew. Oh boy. Spirit does hold on. Kelazhur backs off, taking the much later expansion. Kelazhur, he is behind in the worker count. Again, he was hoping to get some economic damage to catch back up, but alas was unable to. And now he's going to be following up with some drop play. Interesting. Cyclones on the way. Medevac as well. Kelazhur is soon going to move out with quite a kitchen sink of an army here. But as he moves out to catch up in the economy, fast third CC. Very fast third base here out of Kelazhur. So he is not going all in, but still looking for some damage. As here we go, the drop is moving out. 4 Marines on a Cyclone. Back at home, Spirit building up his tank count. His tank production has begun. Kelazhur just now going for his own add-on swap. Oh, looks like there was a little bit of latency going on. Again, something that was plaguing the event at the time. So far, Kelazhur, he is deflected. Spirit, he's in position. Oh. Kelazhur dropping back in. Oh, gets a Marine. Nice control so far. Breaking the lock-on. Does break the lock-on. 1 Marine goes down, trading 1 for 1, 2 for 1. Kelazhur is hoping to try to snipe that deeper, but alas, he will not be able to, and Spirit defends. Slightly more efficient trade there for Spirit. Getting his own third base. Kelazhur just being as active as he can, trying to keep Spirit busy while he expands. As that third base is now done for Kelazhur. As Spirit gets across. Taking down 2 SCVs, 3 SCVs, late reaction here to Kelazhur. 4 SCVs go down. And Spirit, he maintains a massive economic advantage here. 45 to 35 workers. Spirit, he has a 10 worker lead. Oh, at least he had one. Kelazhur getting to the mineral line. Picking up 3 workers, not bad. 3 SCVs go down. Kelazhur gets the hell out of there. As Order to Harass continues. Kelazhur will chase. But meanwhile, disable and the medevac, full medevac goes down. Massive pick off here for Spirit. Takes down the medevac. Now he can look to expand. Getting his own third. Nice catch. And as the dust settles, we're even on tanks, even on Ravens. Third base now on location for Kelazhur. Again, this is designed to try to catch him back in this game. Catch him back up. Spirit now landing his own. And he's moving out. He's now moving out, looking to try to deny the third. And Kelazhur, he has no map presence. He doesn't see the move out. Doesn't see Spirit coming. So Kelazhur is going to be out of position. It's going to be caught out. We'll have 1 tank ready. The rest of the army is here at the natural. And Spirit, he has resource disable. He can't shut this tank down. I mean, even without it, he's within range of the CC. Tank shot's going off. And Kelazhur is going to have to lift. He's going to be stuck on 2 bases, hailing into the mineral line, getting 2 SCVs, or potentially 1, maybe none. Nice defense. Another single worker goes down. Oh my god. Yeah, the tank shots are brutal. Nice counter disable. Vikings, they zone Spirit away, and Spirit, he doesn't take his chances. He gets the hell out of here. He just pulls back. Doesn't want to lose his advantage. Kelazhur moving out with his own counterattack. Both players have their Vikings. Spirit, ooh, bleeding out that Cyclone. A bit of a misread here out of Spirit, as Kelazhur is going for the third. And Spirit, his tanks are lagging behind. That's disable. First tank should be going down. Kelazhur pushing towards the third. And he's actually going straight for the mineral line. SVs are going down. Spirit, he's not going to be able to get out of. He's not going to be able to get out of here. Yeah, he collapses in. Mass disable. Catches out 3 of those tanks. Auto starts being thrown down. And it looks like Spirit, he should have enough. I say that the disables are about to run out. It's close. They do barely run out. Vikings, they land, and Spirit, he will clean this up. It was not an easy trade, though. He lost 13 SCVs in the process. 13 workers go down. Kelazhur takes the lead. But Kelazhur, he did lose all of his ravens. That is concerning. The raven count was reset for the blue Terran, and Spirit, he still has 2. And again, you've seen just how impactful ravens can be in these fights, whether it's with Disable or with the Order Tarts as well. So that is going to be a big advantage here for Spirit. There's ravens, the Vikings as well. Liberators are on the way, as Spirit does have air control. And even though Kelazhur does have the better economy, will he be able to make use of it? He needs more time. He needs more time to build back up. Okay, Spirit taking a more defensive stance. Sieging up here at his 3rd. Kelazhur moving out with his drop play. So far, Kelazhur doing well for himself. I mean, there was a lot of pressure on Kelazhur. He did do a lot of damage. Spirit going for a Liberator Harass. Libs towards the natural. Kelazhur dropping as well. Trying to get a read on the army. Both players backing off. We do have a bit of a lull here. Just drop play for the time being. Boosting into the main. Bold move out of Kelazhur. It's not going to be worth it. Full medevac goes down. Ay, ay, ay. And Kelazhur is going to be cleaned up. Pushing towards a 3rd. Spirit's in position. As he does stem in, gets a tank. Trades Marines for a tank. Better trading for Spirit. Final medevac goes down. And it looks like the Liberators didn't really achieve too much here. Kelazhur, he did respond in time. Libs did fall. Still a very tense back and forth here between Spirit and Kelazhur. Again, the big factor, at least in my eyes, are going to be those ravens. And the air control. Kelazhur, he has 0 Vikings. So the air control is going to be another big factor. Kelazhur's advantage is his marine count. He's got a lot of marines. A lot of bio. Spirit, he does siege in. He does siege up. First tank is going to go down. First and second tank as well. But Kelazhur is going to be forced back. Medevacs are falling. There's not enough bio here from Spirit. He cannot push in. Yeah, Spirit, he's not gaining any ground. Not enough bio, not enough marines. Just tank Viking. Kelazhur trying to catch reinforcements. And he will find a medevac. Oh, ooh, barely does get it. Nice snipe. Good positional play there by Kelazhur. But Spirit, he's within range of the mineral line. SCV is going down. He's still within range of the base. The Vikings ain't land. There's no support. And Spirit, he gets 2 tanks. Massive pickoffs. 2 tanks go down. Kelazhur trying to set up a surround. As he bleeds out more Marines. Reinforcements have arrived. Kelazhur actually going for a counterattack instead. Does miss the main army. He can go straight for the mineral line. Yeah, he stems in. Spirit, he's racing back home. And the boys are being pulled. A lot of SCVs are going to be going down. Not a bad counterattack there from Kelazhur, but he is down in army supply. Okay, now Spirit has the Marine lead. 52 Marines. That's a lot of men with gun. Stems in. Takes down the tank. One tank goes down. Spirit rotating over. Vikings now in favor of Kelazhur. Takes down the lib. At least tries to. Boys are being pulled. Kelazhur getting desperate. So far the siege line is unbroken. Spirit is so close to getting on top of that 3rd. Quite able to. Double expanding behind this. Morphing in its planetary. Getting his 5th base as well. So again, another tank goes down. Kelazhur does have the Mass Marine. He needs to make use of it though, as the base is getting very low. And Kelazhur, I think this is wide open enough for him to just stim in. It's not easy pushing into 4 tanks, but it is going to be possible here. Either that or counterattack. Back at home, there's not much to defend. And Kelazhur has a massive army. He has to make use of it. Kelazhur is maxing out. Liberator's harassing across the map. And the longer this goes on, the better it is going to be for Spirit as he's catching up his supply. Zims in, gets a tank, he gets one, he gets almost, he does get 2. And now here comes a counterattack. Kelazhur, he breaks out, he breaks free, he takes out every single tank. And now he needs to push in, or he needs to push out across the map. Send it, Pappy, send it. As Kelazhur, he's up 40 supply. He breaks out, Mass Marine, let's go. Spirit, he abandons his base. Liberator's pressing across the map. SCVs are going down. Kelazhur pushing in. 3-3 is just now finishing up for Kelazhur. We'll have those upgrades. And again, it's not pretty pushing into the siege line, but I mean, Kelazhur, he has the supply to work with. He can make use of it. For now, just backs off. He backs off. He's going for a drop play. Doesn't like his chances pushing into this. He's at least 9 mining time. And setting up for a counterattack. But again, this is allowing Spirit to catch up in supply. Spirit is building up more tanks, more Vikings. Is closing that gap. The supply lead that Kelazhur has, I mean, it's slipping away. We'll get a command center. Not bad. Likewise, Spirit is now catching up in upgrades. Now getting into 3-3. So the upgrades are evening up. Spirit likewise is in position. Catching up the orange. Oh my god! Kelazhur gets caught on siege. Massive pick up here as Spirit, he will clean up every single tank. And in one fell swoop, Spirit, he takes a fight, takes a supply lead. Kelazhur loses everything. And that may just be game, I'll be honest. Kelazhur is down to 1 tank. He has 1 tank against 9. Not like this. Again, Kelazhur caught with his pants down. And Spirit, now he can push in. He's going for the bases, going for the planetary. Kelazhur, he won't be able to save it. Turret goes down. Spirit, he can keep pushing. The Liberators are on the way. Again, most of the army for Kelazhur is just pure Marine. Pushes forward, gets a couple of Vikings. Spirit gaining ground. Kelazhur, he knows that he cannot push into this, so he's going for a major counterattack. I feel like we needed this far sooner as well. And there is potential. West really gets another tank. Kelazhur stimming in. Denies the 3rd TC, but that is plenty to defend. Spirit, he does overextend. Taking a rough fight. Supplies are somewhat close. But again, very different armies. Oh, Kelazhur setting up first round. He can clean this up. So again, Kelazhur with Mass Marine, he has potential. He can dive. Trying to take more bases. Spirit, his reinforcements have not quite joined up with the main army. And I feel like Kelazhur, he has to break this position before the reinforcements arrive. It might just be too late. Instead, Spirit, he collapses on Kelazhur. Tanks are here. Does reinforce in time. Jesus, Kelazhur heavily oversaturated. Needs more bases. The one lib achieving so much. Yeah, Spirit, he's now within range of the planetary. This planetary, it's gonna go down. Likewise, CCs are denied. And Kelazhur is just getting picked apart. Once again, going for a massive counterattack. Again, he cannot fight the main army. And back at home, there's only one tank, so Kelazhur, he could try to overwhelm. Now there's a second tank. They're unsieged. Spoke too soon, as the tanks, they do siege up in time. Kelazhur rotating over. He will come across the CC. That is the main. The main has floated over. And the main goes down. Not bad. Meanwhile, Spirit, he breaks out, catches some of the tanks. Eighteen SCVs full. Spirit, he has 10 tanks compared to the 5 of Kelazhur. Leading out another tank. Every tank counts. Spirit, he barely doesn't get noticed by Kelazhur. He can try to go for the CC. Stims in. Kelazhur is not too far behind. And the base, it looks like it might just be saved. Kelazhur doesn't fully engage though. The base goes down. Kelazhur fought with half his army. Ay, ay, ay. Kelazhur will clean this up. But, I mean, he already lost the base. Like, the damage has been done. The base went down. Kelazhur had an awkward engagement. We did have a pause. Spirit pushing in. There, we did have some latency. It's all good. Spirit, he's the first to siege. Oh no! Kelazhur! Oh, the move command. The tanks are all going to go down. GG gets called. That was a very rough game for the... Very rough way for the game to end. And GG gets called. Spirit, he does take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. You could argue that potentially, especially towards the end there, maybe latency was a factor, as Kelazhur, he did run into or did walk into the main army. But despite that, GG, we did have a back and forth. There were definitely good moments for Kelazhur as well. I mean, we spoke about it. There was that moment where Kelazhur, he was max, he was up, what, 30, almost 40 supply. But he wasn't able to make use of the army. That's my biggest criticism there, is that Kelazhur, despite having a maxed out army, he had to trade, he had to be active, he had to either push in, go for drop play, trade in some way, shape or form. Otherwise, Spirit would be able to bounce back, and he did. Spirit, he was able to stabilize, able to secure his own army, build up his tank count, and it all came to a head when Kelazhur was caught unsieged. We saw that big moment towards the left-hand side outside of the 4th base, where Kelazhur was on the low ground, he was caught unsieged, and his tank count was completely reset. That was the moment when Kelazhur went down to 1 tank, and when Spirit went up to, was it 12? 9 or 12 tanks. And he never quite let go of that lead. And Kelazhur, who's just heavily reliant on purely a marine army. GG. GG, well played with that. Spirit does take a lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. The pants, no. True. Yo, shout out to Dave Test in the chat for the 300 bits. Thank you so much. Year of the Duck. Thank you, puppy. Thank you so much. Hope you had a great new year yourself. Thank you. Thank you so much for the bits. So we're getting into game 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the Polish Terran player. The blue Terran leading the series 1-0. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Brazilian Terran player, the red Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is a Kelazhur. The pants, no. Don't like this. I'm telling you, SC2 players have to invest into either belts or suspenders. Like, they need something. Aye. It just keeps happening. Happened twice in that game for Kelazhur. Not like this. As we are going to be settling in. As a reminder, last game, Spirit did open up with a faster expansion. This time, double gas. Okay, double gas opener out of Spirit instead, so he's going to be going for earlier tech. This time a much more aggressive, much more assertive opener here by Spirit, and Kelazhur is going to be going for the faster expansion. So the roles have been reversed, and we have Kelazhur being the defender, Spirit being the aggressor. And we'll see what kind of opener we end up into. Again, this could be for Reactor Reaper Hellion. This could lead into earlier tank production, into a tank drop, earlier Banshee production as well. Spirit does have options. Last game, Kelazhur followed this up with Reaper Hellion into a Cyclone drop, if you recall, with mixed success. I mean, I say mixed success, he did lose the full medevac, so it was not too great. Now Kelazhur, again, is expanding. Spirit does confirm. And again, the pressure is going to be on Spirit to try to punish the greed of Kelazhur. Or punish the opener. As we do have Spirit getting into continued Reaper production. No add-on, no reactor. Is moving out, and I believe... Oh! Kelazhur did shoot first. Oh! The SCV does come in to help support, to help buffer. Very clutch engage. Kelazhur does back off, is the first to regen. And he's setting up with his bunker. Behind the Spirit, following this up with Reaper Hellion production, now that the CC on the low ground. Spirit is going to be reinforcing, and thankfully, Kelazhur, he will have a bunker. The bunker is on the way. So Kelazhur is securing himself. Spirit has gained map control. Now with these Reapers, he could try to bypass the natural and go straight into the main. Let's see what direction he does head in. Likewise, Kelazhur, he does read this well. He's in position. Denies the Reapers. So far, so good. Kelazhur, he's holding. So far, he is holding on. Getting into his own tank production. Likewise, Spirit getting to his own 1-1-1. The tank has already begun for Spirit. So much earlier tank production for the blue Terran. Does he go for the medevac? Do we go for the drop? Yep, there it is. Medevac is on the way, so it is going to be a tank drop opener here out of Spirit. We were curious what kind of aggressive build he would embrace, and we have confirmation. It's going to be the tank drop. Meanwhile, Kelazhur playing safe himself, going into an earlier Cyclone, followed by the Viking. This will help defend against something like a Banshee base opener. Early Banshees, early drop play. So really safe setup here by Kelazhur. As the first tank has arrived. And Spirit, he will move out across the map. Here comes the tank drop. And with it, he does have a lot of potential. So he will boost across. Boost in, setting up outside, hoping to catch some of the army. Tank shot goes up, gets a Raven, gets a Reaper. Reaper goes down, Marines as well, within range of the depot. So far, good damage here by Spirit. The Viking zones away the medevac, but alas, Spirit, he's on the high ground. He's in the main. Takes down the depot, now going for the add-on. Doesn't quite get it. Reactor does survive. Nice damage nonetheless. He does retreat. Oof. We'll lose the medevac. But good damage nonetheless, as long as he does keep that tank alive. Yeah, the auto turret will zone. And behind this, Kelazhur going for a 2-base all-in. We'll get into that as he does break out, does catch a tank. Tank goes down, Raven as well. Very nice pickoffs here by Kelazhur. And he does throw down the second starport. He's got 1 starport in the main, a second starport here on the natural, a 2 starport build on 2 bases. This should be into mass Viking production. He has Ravens initially into Viking. So very committed, going for the add-on swap, going for the reactor, I would imagine. Oh, Reaper does scout, does get eyes on both starports. Big scout here for Spirit. Oh, he sees everything. Does see what's going on. And the goal here with Mass Viking, of course, is to gain air control. To gain air control, and that does allow your heavier tank count to just overwhelm the ground army. That is the plan, at least, for Kelazhur. Okay, third TC is now on the way. I mean, he got scouted, right? He got scouted, so it makes sense for Kelazhur to now expand. Oh, throwing down a... This is mech. Okay, throwing down a second factory, and Kelazhur, he is going to pivot away from this, and he is going to be embracing mech instead. Spirit at the same time trying to catch out the army in the center of the map. Kelazhur, he will rotate around. He does avoid the main force. Going to mass lib. Jeez, 3 libs at a time. Spirit, he will miss the rotation. Kelazhur making his way towards the natural. Scans, sees the army is missing. And he's going for it. Spirit, he's racing back home. Tanks do siege. Viking's going to be zoned away. Kelazhur pushing into the mineral line. We'll get some SCVs. At 6 SCVs going down. Zone away the Ravens as well. And remember, those Liberators are on the way. And Kelazhur, he does not push into the natural. Doesn't try it. More libs on the way. Then back into Viking production. Kelazhur rotating around. I mean, he has a lot of potential with this army. Scans confirms the bio. I forgot we can... I think that's the first time I've seen a salvage on the sensor tower, but true. As Liberators do siege up. Do get the Mass Disable. Okay, libs are going to be shut down. But the counter auto turrets here from Kelazhur does maintain the position. For at least a little bit longer. Liberators are being cleaned up. There's 1 lib left. And Spirit, he's holding. He is holding on. As Vikings are being overwhelmed, he has to back up. Kelazhur getting within range of the CC, and Spirit, he pulls the boys. Yeah, the boys are being pulled, gets on top of the tanks. Tanks are going to be going down. There's no support. There's not enough support here for Kelazhur. And he will lose every single tank. Oh my god, that's what, 4 tanks going down. And can he get another tank? I mean, he's down to 2 Marines. Does get it. Another tank goes down. But at a cost of 14 SCVs. With that, the tank count gets reset. Kelazhur does escape with his Ravens. And he's getting a 3rd base. The game will continue. And again, Kelazhur still maintains that economic advantage. 4th base on the way, building up more tanks. He may have lost a lot of tanks, but he's going purely tank Viking. There's no Hellions, there's no Cyclones. It is a risky composition to go for, just because you are vulnerable to Marines, to these big engagements. As there is no support for the tanks, they have to support themselves. We'll see if Kelazhur can get away with it. Spirit dropping into the main. Kelazhur doesn't quite deny it. Going for the production. And Marines, they sim into the mineral line. And again, how do we defend against this? We have some auto turrets, thankfully. Tank is getting in position as well. But workers are falling left and right. 15 SCVs go down. A very mobile army here for Kelazhur. As Vikings are falling. That's 15 SCV kills, and Kelazhur, that economic lead that he once had, not there anymore. Does fall behind in workers. Spirit, he of course confirms mech. Now getting into Marauder production. Kelazhur is setting up. Is setting up a blue flame now on the way, so Kelazhur finally is going to be going into some Hellion production to help support his tanks. Let's go. Getting his fourth. And the question becomes, can Spirit try to abuse these bases and pull Kelazhur apart? And can he try to slow down the army here of Kelazhur before he maxes out with mech? Getting his own fourth on location. I mean, these are the moves you can go for as the bio player. You have map control, so you can cut corners, expand on location, even double expand. More starports on the way. Spirit getting ready for the late game. That'll be to fight for air control and get into Mass Raven. Potentially even Mass BC in a longer game as well. So seeing all these starports tells us that Spirit, he's not going all in. He's not being aggressive. He's going to back off, and we're building up. We're going to the late game. Oh boy. Let's go. I mean, there's something about Ultra Love, right? Ultra Love is a very defensive map. It's very difficult to try to break the third and break the fourth, so it makes sense. So both players will just back off and build up. Double armory now on the way for Kelazhur, so now he's going to be working his own upgrades, scans. He gets eyes on all the starports. He's aware that should trigger Kelazhur to get into his own starport production as well. Speaking of starport production, Thor is on the way. That will help. Thor production has begun, and we should be maxing out. Both armies are going to max. More command centers, more CCs. I was curious if he was going to go for earlier Viking, but no. I mean, he is going for Vikings, but going for early Raven as well. I mean, Mass Raven is the go-to here in TvT. So already working on those Ravens. Kelazhur being somewhat active with the Hellions. Blue Flame is done. But Spirit he keeps up. Getting Azazel Nagas. Taking top left as well. And bottom right. Just mass expanding. That's going to be 2 more starports. That's going to be a 5 starport setup here from Spirit. Kelazhur, his own starports are a little bit later. That's going to be just now the 3rd starport for Kelazhur. Again, TvT does turn into just mass, like Sky Terran. It's just all about air control towards the end. As Kelazhur, he is moving out. Spirit not quite ready for this. At the same time, going for his own counter drop. Disables a tank, drops in. Oh, and Kelazhur is out of position. He commits. He's going for the base trade. He's going to lose 1 base, loses the entire mineral line, but he pushes in. Gets his own disable. Massive tank blow is going off. The boys are being pulled. The tanks are going to be going down. And Sridi will take the better engagement here. The Mass Viking does nothing. The lands are late. And Kelazhur, he loses everything. The entire army crumbles. GG gets called. And Spirit, he will take the series 2-0, taking down Kelazhur. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Kelazhur forced into committing there. I don't think he really intended to commit and go into like a pseudo base trade, but he was completely out of position. Again, this is the downside of this kind of army. This is also why typically when we're playing this kind of mech style, we wait until we're maxed out and fully secure and fully set up. Kelazhur, he went for an earlier move out, and with such an immobile army, he had no option to turn around. He had no option to come back home and defend, so he was forced to commit, and yeah, he just didn't quite have enough there to support his army. A really good decision for Spirit to pull the boys. Despite having less tanks, he pulled the boys, got on top of the tanks, and if you remember, if you saw, it was a late reaction for Kelazhur to drop the Vikings, right? He had a lot of supply in the Vikings, and they were doing nothing in the sky. They were killing, you know, some of the Ravens, of course, and killing some of the medevacs, but they needed to land sooner to protect the tanks. That was like 10 tanks. There were a lot of tanks there. There were like 10 tanks for Kelazhur, but no support. No support. GG, well played. Or not enough support, I should say. With that, Spirit will take the 2-0. And we are now going to be getting ready here for our final series of the night. We've wrapped up with Group B, and now we're going to be dipping our toes into Group D, as up next we have a Zerg versus Protoss. Zerg does exist. We've been casting a lot of Terran, a lot of Protoss here tonight, but we have a Zerg versus Protoss matchup here, Serral versus Jumi. Let's go. I'm ready for some nonsense.